For Thursday, the 20th of April, I'm Randy Kure. This is a What's Up the Sports podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, whether it's on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher. Do me a favor and give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at What's Up Podcast. That is with 1P. So, depending on where you live, whether it's in certain parts of the United States or in my case in Canada, you can get a sense that the weather is starting to improve and more people are back on the golf course. Today's episode is all about golf. It is my favorite sport to play, and there is quite a lot to talk about. The Masters that recently took place, the PGA now competing with the Saudi-backed Live Tour, the sport's presence on social media, especially to chat about a wide range of topics about golf. I am beyond thrilled to be joined by today's guest. She is a co-host for Golf Life TV, as well as a social media influencer on Instagram at New Lady Golfer. Her name is Alissa Kacar and joins me from beautiful San Diego, California. Alissa, an absolute thrill. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and chat all things golf.
No. Thank you. Especially the day that you had. I know that you were shooting content, and the fact that you were able to make some time. I'm really grateful for sure. So, as mentioned, we'll be chatting about the Masters, what took place a couple of weeks ago. Jon Rahm winning the Masters, as well as the LPGA, golf on a participation level, and more. So, Alissa, you are in San Diego. I'm in Toronto, and I could tell you that courses just recently opened up. And today, in the Greater Toronto area, we had a high of around 10 degrees Celsius, which is around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. To rub salt in the wounds of golfers in my home and native land, what is the weather like in your neck of the woods? And please be gentle.
Well, today was actually beautiful. We haven't had a day like this in a really long time, but it was typical San Diego weather, sunny and 75. But we've had a rough winter as far as San Diego goes. I know that sounds ridiculous to say to somebody who lives in Toronto, but we had a ton of rain. So that closed courses pretty off, like a lot, way more than usual. But I think we're through the thick of that, and now we are back to our typical San Diego weather.
Now, I have heard that San Diego has the best weather in the United States. Are you able to confirm or confirm that narrative?
Yeah, I would say yes, for sure. I grew up on the East Coast. I'm originally from New Jersey. I've put my time in shoveling and dealing with winters. So it's actually really nice. I've been in San Diego now for just about 5 years. So I'm fully enjoying, and I feel like I've earned that rite of passage to now have good weather all year round.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, if one of us had to get away from the snow, definitely glad it was you. So, if you follow Alissa on social media, you'll immediately get the sense of how passionate she is and how versatile she is. I mean, she's had the chance to play some of the top courses in the world. She's got to collab with some big names in the game of golf, Max Homa being one of them. He was even in Qatar during the Men's World Cup, and oh man, must have been absolutely incredible. But in regards to golf, you began this journey in 2019, ending a decade-long teaching career. Sure, to change careers is one thing, but I mean, some people go into, say, accounting or sales, and you're doing something as incredible as this. I mean, tell us, how did you go from teaching in New Jersey to doing what you're doing in San Diego?
So I moved to San Diego for my relationship. to be with closer to my boyfriend. And I had such a great experience teaching. Like, I worked at a great school, great kids. I loved what I taught, and I had such a good experience teaching that I kind of wanted to close that chapter for what it was and appreciate having that memory for doing it for 10 years and really loving it. And I was really ready for something new. So I wanted to close that chapter, move out to San Diego, get settled. And I kind of moved out without a plan as far as what I was going to do next. My boyfriend loves to golf. It's a very active outdoor culture here in San Diego. A lot of people love to golf, and I wanted to be able to play with him, whether we were at home or in our travels, and have something fun for us to do active and outdoors on vacation. So I started taking lessons and group classes with golf. Started the Instagram with the handle New Lady Golfer, documenting a beginner, an adult, right? An adult taking on a new sport and documenting that journey, hitting different milestones on the golf course, lessons with my coaches. And now I do a lot with golf fashion, and it's just changed and evolved. But really, if you look on my Instagram, I've stayed true to that initial content strategy of, hey, I'm still fairly new to this. I love taking lessons. I'm a student of the game, and I want to help other people, whether they watch tips from coaches or see my lessons or things like that. I want them to be able to get that value and education that I'm able to get and share that through my Instagram.
And one thing that you're definitely very heavy on is your progress through your lessons, posting multiple times on with regards to that, as well as you mentioned, the fashion aspect and everything involving like the golf community, which is definitely something that I'm very hooked on as well. For me personally, I got into this game I was introduced to it by my dad, and I remember my first tee shot on a par 3, which made the green. I still made bogey, but I'm not going to talk about that. It was that start. Yeah. It was that start that snowballed in such a passion for me. Like, what about you? Like, was there something in particular? Was there a golf memory in particular that really attracted you to the game?
No, I was a soccer player my whole life. I played in college, coached after college for 10 years, high school, boys and girls. So for me, I wanted to master golf. Like, I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to get really good. So I kind of just threw myself all in. So I didn't have any memories of golf. If anything, I'd see it on TV and think it was boring. And now I can't believe over the last 5 years, I've never watched more golf on TV in my entire life. I just have such tremendous respect for how good these professionals are and the shots that they can hit, because, now playing the game, I'm like, wow, they really do some incredible things with that golf club. So no particular memories in the past. It was more just like, I want to learn this sport. I know it, like, I need to practice, I need to take lessons, and I need to figure it out. So that's kind of what got me started. And then now I can't believe it's just turned into a whole new career and lifestyle now, working in the media side of things.
Mm-hmm. And I can imagine that there were, especially these days, as you progress more with lessons and getting more rounds in, that there's been some great shots that you have started to develop over the recent last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, you always get those one or two shots around that keep you coming back.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, so when you mentioned, of course, your media presence and your Instagram handle, New Lady Golfer. I have a ton of opinions on social media, and as for yourself, when you started to develop your career, was there any reluctance? Because I mean, obviously there is that anonymity, and trolling is what it is. And for a teenager in the 90s like myself, like, I didn't grow up with social media. What about for you? Like, how nervous was it, if it was at all, to have that media career in today's day?
So being a teacher, I didn't really have much social media, right? It had to
Mhm.
be everything. Facebook, Instagram had to be really private and locked down just because with students, parents, our administration didn't really want us sharing too much on social media, which was totally fine with me. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any other way. So I was brand new to social media, really, as far as having a public profile and creating content and things like that. And I think social media is an amazing tool. It connects people. It does a lot more good than bad. And I think that when social media is used the way it's intended to, it's an incredible tool. I have met some great people, my new closest friends. I connect with people during my travels, whether it's here stateside or when I'm traveling to other countries. I mean, it's just a way for you to make your world and network that much bigger. So me being the age that I am and having the maturity and the wisdom to now be on social media, I think makes things a lot easier and different. As opposed to teenagers growing up and trying to navigate social media. So I think ultimately it's a great tool. When it's used the right way, it can have massive impact and, life-changing capabilities. I mean, that's Instagram is why I have my career in media.
Sure.
Very early on in me documenting my golf journey, that's when the people found me that run the Farmers Insurance Open. So that getting that gig and working with that tournament, such a prestigious event on the PGA Tour, helped me transition basically overnight from a girl on Instagram learning to golf to now working in golf media. So I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without it.
Yeah, and there's definitely, as you mentioned, there is a lot more good than bad, but and there definitely is a responsibility to and a maturity to have, the presence that you have. I mean, over 100,000 followers on Instagram, very, very impressive. And
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. And I mean, so that being said, with your social media campaigning, and I mean, you have rubbed elbows with incredible with celebrities, Sugar Ray Leonard being one of them. I know that you have a great
Yeah.
event coming up that we're going to definitely talk about later on. But was there one media campaign, social media post that really stood out for you over the past few years?
Well, getting to work, I just finished my 4th year doing social media hosting with the Farmers Insurance Open. So that event to me is just like one of my favorites of the year. And it's very kind of like nostalgic. I hold it like near and dear to my heart just because it was what really kicked off my media career in golf. And then, yeah, it's so funny that you bring up the George Lopez celebrity tournament. So first time I did that was last year, and
Mhm.
that was an incredible experience. And then yesterday I was putting together that little highlight video that I posted. It just made me smile so big because I mean, I got to go to this amazing party the night before the event, celebrities, performances. It was so much fun. And then I got to hit the ceremonial tee shot with Lee Trevino. I was so nervous to do that, but it was incredible. Um, I got to golf and spend a day in a golf cart with Sugar Ray Leonard. Like, are you kidding me? I was pinching myself. And that was just an incredible 2-day event. I'm so excited that they're having me back, and I'm just really looking forward to it.
So, over the past couple of weeks, especially during the Masters, I saw that you were in Europe, and yeah, and I saw that you were in Spain, and you mentioned that you were having a little difficulty watching the Masters. I don't know what's more ironic, the fact that you were having difficulty watching the Masters while you were in Spain. Meanwhile, a Spaniard won the Masters, or the fact that you
Yeah.
were on a tree where a tree made big news at
Oh, yeah.
Augusta as well. First things first, I guess. How did you stay updated with the Masters? There was definitely a lot to follow.
Yeah, really just the Masters app. So the Masters this year fell on my boyfriend's daughter's spring break. So we were having a lot of family time. And yeah, trust me, I was like, I can't believe I do what I do and I am not watching the Masters. But ultimately nothing is more important to me than our family time. But we were staying up to date with the Masters app. We couldn't get it to stream on, through the internet in
Right.
Spain. I don't know why. I don't, maybe just lost in translation for us. Like it was on in Spain, obviously, but we couldn't just quite figure it out. But yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Great for Tiger to get out there and for people to still get the opportunity to see him play. I saw him play at the Farmers, I want to say in 2019. And then I wasn't sure if I was ever going to see him play in person again. And luckily he was out at Riviera and I was there this year. So I got to see him play again, which was great. And Jon Rahm, I am a huge fan of Jon Rahm. I just love his fierce competitiveness. I identify with that. I love how fiery he is, but I've had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time around him and he is very nice. So I'm just a big Jon Rahm fan. He's having an amazing year. So for him to get the Masters win this year is really great.
So, okay, so what does your coach think about Rahm's swing? Because he doesn't really go all the way when he begins his swing there. I'm kind of like the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, does your coach, does he cringe when he sees Rahm swing?
I don't think I would say
It definitely works for him, doesn't
definitely
it?
not. I mean, how could you cringe? I was gonna say, how could you? How could you? Like, he's the best player in the world.
Sure, sure,
Keep
absolutely.
swinging your swing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you did bring up Tiger, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Tiger. Of course, he did make the cut for the 23rd straight year, tying Freddie Couples' record. Of course, it was tough to see him, limping because of plantar fasciitis he developed. Obviously, Father Time is catching up. His last tournament win was 2019.
Yeah,
Do you think he has much more in the tank?
I'm not sure. I mean, you could never count out Tiger. But I just think at this point, I mean, he's had so much success. He now has Charlie coming up, and I would feel confident in saying that he's going to have a great career, high school, college, and I'm sure a professional career is in his son's future. So I think he's a smart guy, and I think he will make the right decision for him based on the situation where he's at and his team. They can assess where he's at and if he should keep on going. But otherwise, I mean, he has transformed and defined golf as we know it. So to me, he's got nothing more to prove.
Well, yeah, and he is the reason why I, for one, got into the game, and same with millions across the world. So back to the Masters, and it was certainly one that golf fans wouldn't forget. Especially it was the first major where live players were taking part.
Right.
Did you think that there was a lot more anticipation for this major because of the live participation?
I mean, it definitely gave people something to talk about. So, social media always loves to kind of stir up controversy when people think there's controversy to be had. So definitely made for some interesting conversations in that regard.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact of the matter is that there was 18 players on live that for the most part did very well. I mean, Oosthuizen and Na did withdraw. Four players missed the cut, Sergio and Bubba Watson being two of them. But hey, take a look at Brooks Koepka. Take a look at Phil Mickelson. Both finished tied for second. I mean, they only play 3 rounds at live, but obviously these guys have played, 4 rounds and have had very established careers in the PGA, of course, for the 4 round circuit. That being said, though, like, were you still surprised at how especially the live golfers did, because it was the first tournament? So much focus was on these golfers back in the spotlight for, dare I say, the first time since going to live.
Um, I don't know. I would love to get their insight on it, right? I mean, they're professionals. These guys, it's a different level, a different way of thinking, different perspective. Like, if they're going to get caught up in all of that and all, all the stuff, they're probably not going to have a lot of success in actually competing. So I think their mental toughness is really strong. So I would love to hear their insights on how they, how it made them feel, because honestly, I really don't know. But they had a great showing. And I mean, at the end of the day, the Masters is the Masters. I don't think it necessarily matters where you come from or at what point you are in your career, because you have guys who are competing that have won the Masters, a long time ago, and they come back. They've earned that right to be there, and they've earned that right to play in that event. So I'm like, they all deserve to be there, right? I think that's what makes it so fun and incredible, is that if you're a Masters champion, no matter how old you are at this point, you can come back and play it. And playing Augusta National is like, golf. It's like one of the most coveted tee times, or, a chance to play there is like, people would die to do that. So I think it was great that they were there.
And they definitely did extremely well, especially the majority of them. Alyssa, there was one item that I did want to bring up, and about the Masters, and Michelle Wee West had posted on Instagram that she was at Augusta, and in a general sense, you think Michelle Wee West is at Augusta, no big deal. Lo and behold, it was the first time that she was ever there, and the reaction was, is that how is one of the LPGA's top golfers, dare I say, in history, at Augusta only for the first
Yeah.
time in her life? You know, uh, it just seemed offensive to me in so many levels. I mean, I can imagine that you have an opinion on this alone.
I'm surprised to hear that. I would think that she would be able to, leverage her place in the industry to get out there with, even if it had to be with a member. But I'm surprised to hear that. I hope she gets the opportunity to play the course, because I feel like she's earned that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I think that, I mean, especially with the women's amateur that's taking part, and that I mean, you think of Augusta, you think of golf, you think of Augusta National, and that
Yeah.
definitely that there is definitely a sense that the LPGA and women in general should have the opportunity to play those hallowed grounds. Yeah, so for somebody like myself in my mid 40s, I'm as a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, like I can remember golfers like uh, you know uh, so like Davies and Sorenstam, Seri Pak, Ochoa, and so on. And on an individual basis, you think of golfers today, and of course you have Korda, you have Lydia Ko, of course in Canada. Brooke Henderson is the toast of the golfing world. I mean, hey, she's the most celebrated golfer in our country. But on an individual basis, like I'm thinking that golfers were a lot more prominent in the 90s and earlier and so on. Like, is that something that you agree with? That
Um, I feel like the game is growing tremendously, and more so amongst everyday people. To me, I think that golf athletes are, this is it's tough because I'm newer to the game, right? I don't know all the backstory
Sure.
and
Yeah.
like, but in 90s and things like that. But I think the game of golf is it's doing amazing. I think there was a fear maybe 10 years ago that it was dying out, or it was way too traditional, or it wasn't accessible to the masses. And I think during the years throughout the pandemic, I feel like that really shifted and changed. And it was a great activity to do outdoors that allowed people to keep space between them, but still do something active and with other people. And the numbers we've seen of people come to the game, and men, women, more youth, like I think that if anything, golf is only more in a spotlight now more than ever.
Yeah, and the role and like the prominence of women's sports. You take a look at basketball and the WNBA. You think about domestic soccer and in the United States growing and growing, and obviously it'd be just a matter of time. And actually, Canada is thinking of a domestic soccer league for women's soccer, led by Diana Matheson, who is a Canadian international. Um,
I
like,
know,
do
I
you
know the
think
name
that?
for sure.
Yeah, and do you think that golf is on that forward trajectory as well? It definitely seems that that more and more are definitely taking part.
Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like coming up soon, right? There's the PGA Tour and LPGA Tour event where their team, going to be a male professional and a female professional teaming up and stuff. And I think those events are great. And the women are starting to get majors at incredible courses. I mean, I just feel like golf is on the up and up for sure. And I think the female game is starting to get more recognition, which is great, because these women are really good. And you will hear all the male professionals say the exact same thing. And a lot of them look to some of the certain female players to sort of emulate certain things that they do in their game. So, it's golf is definitely going in the right direction for sure.
What about in terms of children, in your opinion, like in a general sense, boys, girls? Yeah, look, I personally don't have kids, but the complaint I hear from parents who are my age, oh, these kids today, Gen Zs, they don't have any patience, they don't have any time, like they're all into their phones, and they don't take
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that sort of thing. Uh, what do you think the golf community has to do to appeal to younger people, Melissa?
Um, well, I think there are a lot of great people doing good things for youth in golf, and I've got to meet some of them. I have friends that are teaching professionals, and they are doing great things to get the youth involved in golf. I had the opportunity to visit the Bahamas a few years ago
Mm,
and play a course out there. They had the first head PGA, or the first head golf professional female in the entire Caribbean. And I got to play with her, and she was doing amazing things for the Bahamian youth, like after school programs. They were coming there, like they were doing so many good things. So I just love finding those stories, and I love seeing people that I know well in my network that are doing lots of stuff to get the youth excited, both male and female youth golfers excited about the game.
yeah, and especially ironically enough, from the pandemic, it did seem that a lot of people were starting to take up golf, and hopefully that'll
Yeah,
stay. Yeah, and hopefully that it will stay because definitely an incredible game. So, Alyssa, listen,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I did want to end things off on a lighthearted note, and something I wanted to get your opinion on, and that was so the tradition for the Masters, as you know, is that the winner of the previous Masters gets to
Yeah.
host a champions dinner. And okay, before I give my opinion, so Scotty Scheffler, of course, won the 22 Masters. and he
Yep.
got to choose dinner, and he
Yep.
chose a cheeseburger slider and firecracker shrimp as an appetizer, and a choice of
Yep.
a ribeye steak or blackened fish, and for dessert, a warm chocolate chip cookie. So out of 10, in your opinion, how would you rate Scotty Scheffler's meal selection for winning the Masters?
I mean, all of that sounds really good to me right now. I'm not gonna lie. I love to
Okay.
eat. And all of that sounds really good. And you know what? I'm gonna give it a 10 because I
Wow.
love, first of all, I love that tradition.
Yes.
And I think it's really cool that they get to put like their own spin on it. And you know that all of that food is gourmet, made, perfect to the nines, like all the best ingredients. So you know it's tasting delicious. Even if it is a cheeseburger, I bet that cheeseburger is one of the best cheeseburgers you're ever going to taste.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Please. Please. No, I
and
think
he had me at warm chocolate chip cookie. I'm a sweets person. I love dessert. I mean, I would have got, so my choices would have been, I would have loved the appetizers. I would have probably got the fish, and then I would have been all about that cookie.
so. Okay, when the word steak is on a menu, I mean that's
Yeah.
speaking to my heart. Okay, that's number one.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, okay,
Okay.
a cheeseburger slider. I mean, to me, that sounds okay. And to your point, yeah, it's probably gourmet and a half, probably like Wagyu
Yeah.
beef or whatever. But I'm thinking
Exactly.
like a risotto. I'm thinking like an arugula salad, like something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I get, yeah, I'm with
That
you.
sounds good
That
to me too.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, but I
That
was
sounds good to me too.
yeah, yeah. Okay, but I don't know. Maybe just it's the word cheeseburger. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely won't pass that up. I'll tell you that right now. But anyway,
Yeah.
listen, Alyssa, after the day that that you had, and all things considered, I'm really grateful for this. Really love to learn what kind of projects you have coming up, and where people could find you on social media.
Yeah, so you guys can find me at New Lady Golfer on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, I got some really fun things coming up between now and the end of May. George Lopez event. That's always fun to follow along. And then I will be doing a girls golf trip with some girls in my agency. And we're going to Mexico. We'll be there for 5 days. So that'll be really fun. So lots of good adventures, golf adventures coming up. And as always, you will find expert instruction from the coaches that I get to work with. So please come and follow along.
And you're going to be doing yourself a favor if you do follow Alyssa. She is extremely passionate about golf. She is so responsive on messages and so on. And she even managed to take time for a guy like me on this platform here, Alyssa. Best of luck to you. Enjoy and have an incredible golf season. I'm really grateful for this. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
She is Alissa Kacar, media presenter and social media personality at New Lady Golfer, Instagram and Twitter. My name is Randy Kure. This is a What's Up the Sports podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you next time.